Hey, Lee Wolf here. We are live. Welcome to the show and watching. Today, I am sitting as always with Mr. Richie Bello, and we also have a special guest today, Craig or CJ Brunet, who's the president and COO of Advanced Cyber Security Corp. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing very good.
All right. So a couple of quick things at the top of the show. I know right off the bat, Richie, you have a special announcement from the Richie Bello Institute that you wanted to share for our veterans.
Yes. So we have a lot of partners, right? And the whole thing is we're building a marketplace currently, right? But as of today, this is what the veterans have on the Institute, all right? A free car wash every month for 12 months. We're blessed enough to have one of our partners, and we put a deal together that the Institute is taking care of that totally free. Never no charge. Those veterans that don't have a car will help you buy a car. Look up shopsmartautos.com, pick the car you want, tremendous discount. And for that work, we don't charge anything. Also, lucky enough again to have some serious partners. Go high level under the Institute. Anybody that signs up, any veteran-owned business gets a free CRM with everything that happens. We go high level, guys, go high level. Major CRM. Every veteran that owns a business, all right, and once we get the registration that it's a veteran-owned business, gets go high level for free.
That's incredible.
Okay, and that is what we're doing, and that's Richie Bello Institute, but it's our partnerships. It's me going here, going there, traveling. You know, I don't put anything that I travel, anything that I do. I'm a very quiet guy behind the scenes. I just want to get things done. And really, I care about the most important thing is our veterans. Because I'm a nonprofit, and I'm going to end it with this. I went over the presentation of the recruitment in Washington 7 years ago. And what I tell you is that they're worse than used car salesmen. They give you a bullshit story to get you out there in boot camp. And then when you come back, everything they promise, they're full of shit. And I'm a type of guy that really don't care about the government, right? I'm really don't care because I'm Cuban and I don't want people to do the right things by our veterans. People in the front lines, you know, if you look at the Vietnam War, Iraq War, how many people died over this? You know, they get this story done and it's a real storytelling. It's bad. But when you tell stories, that's a non-issue with a sales guy, man. That's bad, man. When these people, their lives, they come back. There's so many homeless, there's so many PSTD because you can't fix somebody's brain, bro. You can find a solution for everything, but once you get a trauma, and that's all I got to say. Thank you to those partners that I have, Go High Level, the app that they gave me. It's unbelievable. It's a big company. It's called AutoCare, and they're giving me that app for our veterans. Get on here, info@richiebellowest.com, and you're going to get taken care of. And remember something, to me, the most important thing is our U.S. veterans. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, and the car washes, I actually used that system once to test it out. Absolutely flawless, unbelievable technology to find you a quality car wash right in the area. So for that to be free for them is amazing.
Oh, and it's in 3 states, okay, for now. Florida, which is where I am a lot of times. Arizona, where the Institute is. And New York, of course, I'm never going to forget New York. I thank all the dealers out here for dealing with my bullshit for so many years. They're all my friends, even though, you know, sometimes we have our differences because here in this market, they're a little different. But you know what? I'm very transparent. I could care less. But awesome. I thank them for even dealing with me. Thank you.
Beautiful thing. All right. So before we get rolling on the show, just going to run a quick message from our sponsor, White Dove Bird.
In the world of SEO, or search engine optimization, there are plenty of people that are going to call themselves experts and promise all kinds of traffic that will supposedly show up to the digital doorway to your website. But what does traffic really mean to you and your business? I mean, if you think of traffic like people shopping in a shopping mall, yeah, there are thousands of people walking around the mall, looking in and out of stores, passing by windows. But are they walking inside and making an actual purchase? You need traffic that actually converts, and that's why your SEO has to be on target. At White Dove Bird, we're the experts that not only bring the right customers to your door, but through it, while making sure that their user experience is the right experience. Just check out the site, set up a quick appointment, and bring traffic that converts to your business. Listen, at White Dove Bird, the world clicks with us.
All right, so welcome back, and again, thanks for being here. So our topic today is we've been talking a lot lately over the last few weeks about cybersecurity, and something that was I've heard of before, but I got to watch a demo of it with CJ about keystroke issues. And it's not something that I ever thought very deeply about before. But when you think about it, and I worked in a dealership myself, person after person after person comes into that dealership, and they're entering all of their personal information into the computer. Sometimes in front of you, you turn your monitor, you let them have a little privacy, they do their thing. So yeah, once they hit enter and that information goes into their system, if they have some kind of cybersecurity, protective software of some kind, that information in the end zone is protected. But what was brought to my attention with CJ, and it's been around, but just not something you really think about, is the process of when you're actually typing this information. If there's malware or certain types of hackers have found their way into your systems, they can see what you type. Pretty incredible. And CJ has the solution for that. But I wanted to ask you first, just tell us a little bit about your background, where you came from, how you got to where you are today.
Sure. Let me actually interject here for a second, Richie. I was very interested to hear about what you're doing with veterans. First Air Cav, U.S. Army, Vietnam, 1969, 1970.
Well, thank you very much.
And believe it or not, that's where I got my first introduction to technology. It was called a FADAC, which is a Field Artillery Digital Analytical Computer. I'll make it real short. It was a 600-pound PC with a 700-pound generator attached to it, all right, in the field. And it allowed us to register rounds, whether it be from the Navy coming on or any one of our fire bases in Vietnam used a FADAC out of the S2 and the S3 shop.
Wow.
So got out of the Army, went back to college, and effectively right out of college, I went to work for AT&T. And that was my first exposure to technology on the bleeding edge, what was going on, right? What we were going to do. This was before fiber optic switching or multi-fishing stuff. And I was presenting to Mobil Oil Corporation in Bedminster, New Jersey at the AT&T Network Center. It looked like NASA. If you've never been to Bedminster and seen the AT&T network, they're on the second floor looking down onto hundreds of guys in front of computers and big screens. Before big screens were big screens, they were there.
Wow.
So Mobil, I was making the presentation. You press the button and the big curtains come open and the executives are able to see this network. And the pitch was we were going to take care of their networking needs on a global basis. So all of a sudden, as I'm talking to them, they're looking past me at the big center. The AT&T network connections between major cities in the U.S. Now we're talking, this is 1987. The network was turning red, meaning it was shutting down between New York and Chicago, between Chicago and San Francisco, the whole thing was shutting down. I'm going to go to the answer here. That was my first exposure to what I would call an open network and unauthorized access. An individual, AT&T employee, had gone in and put in a wrong command to the number 5 ESSs. They talk to each other, right? Those are big computers in those days. And we had fiber between those particular devices. So one machine told the other one, hey, you got some bad stuff coming. You need to shut down. That one told the next one. The entire AT&T network went down because of an unauthorized individual, all right, had access where he shouldn't.
Wow.
So fast forward, I've been in technology. If you're using a high-speed cable modem today, you're on my patents. Was doing voice data video over coax. So technology, I've taken 3 companies public, all technology companies. And specifically, what intrigued me in 2015 was a set of patents that were available that weren't being positioned properly and hadn't been commercialized. So along with my 2 partners, we acquired these patents, and effectively that's what we have created today. Now, antivirus is very effective in the majority of the time. However, they will tell you that as it relates to capturing, quote, keyloggers that are delivered through multiple different ways to get onto a device to capture what you're typing, they effectively are only 22% effective.
Wow.
Right? And there's a number of reasons for that. The first one being is that there are approximately 11.2 million new viruses injected into the U.S. market every day.
Sure.
If the antivirus gets a 0 day and they identify it, they create what's called a signature. And then they all talk to each other and they update their databases. And if it's on your machine, then they can remove it. But if they don't know about a 0 day, it can reside on your device for long. Google had them in their systems for 3 years. And if you go look at the forensics, keyloggers and spyware are in almost every data breach. 96% of all data breaches contain keyloggers and spyware to be able to further the attack or gain access. So this particular technology that we have commercialized now, and it's used by the largest credit card processor with their merchants. It's used with the largest banking platform, with the banks, the employees, and the bank customers, large communications companies, insurance carriers. The product or the service is a very simple download. If you've ever downloaded anything to your mobile device and or your Windows PC device, tablets, mobile, it stops. If you have a keylogger, whether the antivirus has found it yet or not, it eliminates the ability of that 0 day keylogger or exploit to be able to capture anything that you're typing. And what Richie was referring to, I pulled up a standard form that's used by almost every auto dealer to capture the information or type in the information when you're either going to lease or buy a new car. Right. And was able to demonstrate how a 0 day captures everything that's being typed. Then when you turn on the encryption from the fingertip, that's the difference. We're encrypting from the fingertip up into the application text box that's being presented. And it's agnostic. Now, what I mean by that, you don't have to link this into any particular app.
Right.
It's automatic. So if you're typing, we're encrypting. So we're protecting you through the layers that you have to go up through, where the bad guys are actually having multiple different ways to capture that keystroke. We eliminate them from capturing anything that you're typing.
Right.
I'm excited about it. We have some new underwriting that's occurred. Ransomware increased 100% for consumers last year over the year before. The bad guys have figured out the internet is a way for them to monetize what they do for a living.
Yeah.
If you were to capture the numbers of dollars that they are stealing on a global basis, it makes them the 3rd largest economy in the world.
Unbelievable.
So
yeah, it's basically the wild, wild west, but no one has to show up. They could be hiding in a basement. Yeah. And Richie, I got to see a demo of this keystroke technology. And CJ had it up on screen. You had basically, he literally brought up the logger so you could see when someone is typing, you could see how it's pulling all the information into the logger. But once you hit this software, almost like, not the same thing, but almost like when you run a VPN on your computer, it's just
Right.
right there. It's doing its job, you know. This software, once it was kicked on, whatever CJ was typing was no longer making it over to the hacker. And pretty important, right? Especially in the automotive world, right? Banking, automotive, Rich?
Well, here's what I'm going to say about why this company that CJ has is so powerful and so big. Let's talk about something. I met CJ and his partner Danny. I met Danny first, who's a personal friend of one of my partners. A long time friend, 11, 12 years. Danny was doing different things, vitamins, holistic, and all that. He still does that. But man, then he comes up with this, comes CJ. I used to have an office. Well, I still do have the office there, right at the beach club. And I meet CJ. But I had no idea that CJ was a veteran. Now, I've had the Institute since 2016. Okay? And I went to get grants, and the government told me, no, I got press releases and all that. I went back to the government and says, you know what? You guys are taking too long. No, we can't do it. This is good. Keep it. I'm going to do something for the veterans, always on me. So the Institute is training, knowledge, education. I've coached a lot of business that have to do with veterans. But I'm going to say something about that Vietnam era. I have so many veterans in Arizona and Vietnam, and CJ, he's a tech. Do you know the technology world started in Vietnam? A lot of people don't know that. I got Jim Richards, Jose Alcone. I can go list and list. I know them by name, and that because I talk to them consistently. Jim Richards is in Veterans Affairs, went to Vietnam, was in the Navy, also a technology guy, ladies and gentlemen. He was a tremendous programmer. And they were all programmers. And this is why a lot of people in the private sector doesn't know this. So when now that he said that, I'm looking for my phone because I was going to take a picture and send it to Eddie Richards because to Jim Richards, personal friend of mine, vet from Arizona. When I go there, I don't have to rent a car because he drives me around wherever I need him. He's a personal friend of mine. And at the beginning of the Institute, he came to New York. He lives in Arizona. And I showed him digital marketing. And he grasped it so easy because he told me, Richard, this is 2016. And technology, I was a computer programmer, a real computer program, not like now. Mm-hmm. So back in that, and he had a special job in the Navy. And I don't want to say what it is unless he says it. But I would like these two gentlemen to meet because they got, and a lot of people that I have in the Institute that go there are about this. But that's the first thing I wanted to say. The other thing I wanted to say, I got a friend of mine named Jeff Schwartz, Autovitel founder, then scaled into this. And today what he does is the form that you guys get filled up with Bitcoin and the links, and they're all hot. They put a hot link when you call. You click on that link and you're finished. They know everything about you, right? He's got this form that you got to send a verification to your phone to yourself, and then you say yes, and then okay, whatever. I want to bring him in the next few weeks with CJ, a personal friend of mine. Yeah. But anyway, I want to talk about Keystroke. I've heard of that for quite some time now. How long has that technology existed, CJ?
Well, ransomware was, keystroke capture, right? Capturing keystrokes was one of the initial viruses that were out there, right? Mm-hmm. It's been around a long time. I can't give you the exact date, but I can tell you that the Black Hat Conference in Las Vegas this year is 25 years old.
Right. Okay, great.
And
And
it was
that's why I
talking,
wanted to ask
it
you.
was talking about that 25 years ago.
Wow.
It's still here.
Right.
And what's more dangerous, Richie, first of all, AI, I'm sure we're going to have the good, the bad, and the ugly about it as time goes on.
Sure.
But these keyloggers and spyware and today's what we call 0-day exploits, meaning no one has seen it yet, right? It's just now coming to the market. Once an antivirus company finds it, using AI, they morph into another 0-day. So it's getting worse. In fact, I've got a statistic here that specifically says that every day 1.7 million attacks happen on consumers. That means that 19 attacks happen every second. And that's effectively from the Cybersecurity Ventures, which is one of the reputable, there's a lot of statistics about this stuff out there, right? But keyloggers and spyware are the main entry point that gets in.
Wow.
Been around a long time.
Wow.
Now, ransomware has come on, and our national focus with cyber defense, you can name all the 3-letter agencies that you want. They were focused on nation threats, Iran, Iraq, Russia, China, right? That's where their focus was. But when the bad guys, girls, women, figured out that they could monetize the internet with threats to an individual or to a business, those resources that were focused there, they're still focused, but they're now their focus has been cut because they're trying to figure out how to stop this threat. The internet is a great tool for companies. We're using it right now. I can remember when it didn't exist, right? When AOL first came out, we were happy to chat with people, over the internet. And technology is growing so fast, and we think that we're going to be protected by our government. That's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And Black Hat, the group, there must have been 5,000-6,000, quote, good guy hackers in there in that particular meeting. And where do we go from here? Right? It's not getting any better. It's getting worse.
Right.
And it's getting politicized a little bit about controlling information and not controlling information. But to your point, Richie, about keyloggers and spyware, been around forever, getting worse. Over 25 years, can't stop it.
Wow.
And that's the whole thing that I wanted to come up with was that's the start of you trying to handle what's going on with data breach right now. If you don't have that, forget it.
Well, here's a key word, Richie. And prevention versus protection.
Right.
So if you've got any one of the not antivirus, but any of the identity theft companies, and I'm not going to name them, you know who they are. They're out there. They're on TV all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not preventing anything.
No.
They're after the fact. Oh, I'm going to tell you that your credit card's out there. I'm going to tell you your driver's license is out there, right?
Right.
I'm going to tell you what I said. It's too late. So you got to get to the very front end. That's what this is all about with this particular intellectual property that works across the iOS, Apple phone, Android phone.
Let me say this. So let me go over something. That technology, it's old, but it's today. It's in today because technology scales. The other now you merge that with what we have access to. We call him the great doctor, right? Which he loves this technology. Why? Because he knows that technology you can wrap up and now you got something. You had no meat before that, but now you have this that his technology taps in. It's all AI technology. It's all this kind of stuff that's data breach. Okay. But this keystroke thing is amazing. So that process, and we're working on the whole process, and we're all going to be ready. CJ and the doctor, myself, Lee Wolf, and I got a few other cybersecurity guys that see the value in this. I already know about Keystroke, how long it's been, but I'm not a cybersecurity professional, right? By the way, I part of the incubator at Queens College. Okay, I'm planning on having a meeting there with a few other cybersecurity people, but bringing in CJ, virtually the doctor, because he's in Germany, but soon the doctor's going to be here in the United States. We just got a company in Silicon Valley that's owned by the doctor, so it's in the process of him coming down here, Silicon Valley, right? So we got 5 or 6 things happening together. CJ is very aware of it, and Danny. Why? Because they've been in my life for a long time. These are not new people. This is not something that I'm marketing or talking about somebody new. My relationship with the doctor is new. The doctor knows me a while now. In the automotive sector, I've been working back and forth with him on phone calls, calling, coaching each other. He's teaching me a lot. I mean, the doctor knows me a long time, but I don't have like a friendship relationship like with Danny and CJ. And this is why they're important in this cybersecurity thing, because I have other partners that they can come in and we can all get together. And now we know we got to get more people to help the automotive dealers. This thing that happened with data search, I reached out to Danny right away because this is a very important thing. This happened to CDK Global. If it happened to them, it's a problem.
Yeah, and it costs billions.
And the thing is that when you're the automotive sector, I've been doing this since a very young age. I'm 60 years old already. I'm going to be there it's been 40 years and I've only stuck to automotive. That's why I got shop spot. That's why it is. I mean, just automotive. So I always want to help my friends at the OEM sector. Not going to mention name, but the other day I had a call from one of my good friends at the OEM that actually wants me to go to the OEM. He wants to talk to me. So I'm planning a trip. I'm probably going to plan a trip with one of my cybersecurity people. And the best one would be Danny to go with me. They want to meet him. So I want to start with that. See, Richard, what are you doing with cybersecurity? We need to know. What are you up to? Well, this is what I'm up to. I'm up to protect our dealerships because of the dealership. But really, the thing with data breaches, you're going after the consumer.
Yeah, it's any business.
DMS. I mean, what's CDK Global? DMS. What's DMS? Dealer Management System. You got all the consumers on there. That's one thing that I do with the VIN retention and Helms Technology. Helms Technology markets DMS for service and parts. I mean, they're reaching out to all these customers all the time. So it's like I have a lot of partners that are involved in this, so that's why it's so important, this data breach. I mean, when this happened the next morning, I was like, whoa. And people know I smoke cigars, right? I smoked like 6 cigars that day and had about a gallon of espresso just to say, what happened?
Yeah.
How could this happen to our industry? So from that day on, it was a game changer, and I had to reach out to CJ and Danny. Go ahead, CJ.
I gave a presentation in Philadelphia last year to 100 insurance brokers that were in cyber security, right? They were selling breach insurance. And one of the, or 2 or 3 of the slides I used dealt with automobiles. So
wow.
let me go there with you for just a second. When you get in your car, what's the first thing you do?
Me? I mean, personally, I put my seatbelt on.
Start.
Yeah, start the car.
The second thing you do is you hook your phone up.
Mm.
You hook your phone up to your car. CarPlay, some of it's automatic, Bluetooth. Your phone is now connected to the car.
Correct.
In the combustion engine vehicles today, non-electric, there's over 2,300 chips. In an electric vehicle, there's over 5,000.
Wow.
If your device is compromised and you plug it into your car, Bluetooth or CarPlay, whatever you're using, your car can be compromised.
Wow.
So you have to think about the implications of your device and what you're letting it attach to. So if that's compromised with a keylogger, they're going to stay there. Or even worse, they'll lock your device down. That's what ransomware is all about.
Yeah.
They'll lock your device down. You can't have access. You can't call anybody. And they then send you the email that they've got all your contacts, all your photos. And unless you give me $12,000 or $15,000, I'm releasing all this information. If you don't, it's going to stay locked up. Now, let me ask you two. Who do you call to unencrypt your device because it's got ransomware and your device is locked down? I don't know a phone number to call.
No, I don't know either.
No.
You're going to pay the money.
Yeah.
So prevention is the right word, not after the fact. Try to prevent that from happening. And again, with AI, it's just going to get worse and worse. So,
Sure.
And that's a good word, prevention. But the other word that's more important is awareness.
correct.
When you
Correct.
become aware of something, right, you can fix it. I'm going to go back to this that I always say. Could you fight an invisible man? And no, you can't, right? It's impossible. You don't see him. He's smacking you around. You don't see him, right? My father told me that when I was 13 years old. Lucia, I want you to think about this. Could you fight an invisible man? Something you don't see. Could you fight it? You could, but you can't win. I say, Rich, you know why I'm telling you this? Because you have to observe and be aware. Because I was one of these kids that was a little crazy, right? And awareness is key. I always say, not knowing something is like being blind. If you don't know something, you're like blind. Once you know it, you can start being aware. So it comes from that. And then awareness and prevention together, which that's a good word. CJ, I'm so glad you came to the show because one thing is I'm always looking at words, different words, right? To find out how we can focus thing, right? Well, prevention is key. Now you got awareness, and now that you're aware, now we call CJ for prevention. Okay? Now you're aware of it. We're letting you know. Now your brain, the thing up here that has all the hormones going, all this stuff. Now you're up, wait, boop. Now let me make a decision. Now let me get prevention. And you're picking up that phone, right? Say, nah, you know what? Don't make that decision because you don't know that sector. No, you know what? I'm not going to call this. This might be too much money. This might be this. Nah. Why am I getting involved in this? Sometimes that happens. Sometimes temptation is terrible. When you pick up that phone, always make this decision. If you go like this, boom, stay on there because that could be an opportunity for your company. It could be a problem that you might be happy because the idea is your automation is great. You automate this, and then you start overthinking, and you stop. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Now was not a time to overthink something like this. You know why? Because, man, the bad guy, every day we go to sleep, he is thinking, what's next? And I'm going to say something about technology. We monitor traffic on websites. We also monitor traffic, and I'm going to have Lee make that and make it live on a video. We have the PowerPoint, not the PowerPoints, actually looking at locations per locations. Guys, the foot traffic, we know because of the devices. They leave ABC Motors with that cell phone. They go to CDE Motors, and that new device shows up. In the last 10 days, I've been watching something. Google as a direction platform, right? GPS. Everybody uses Google, but there's a lot of people. 25% are now using Waves. There used to be more. Waves got bought or merged with Google because they have an ad network, okay? This was perfect. This was always working great I want you to go to a location you usually go to. Go on Google. Let's say you go to ABC Motors. You go once every 3 months for your car service. Go on Google. Boom. It takes you directly to the same place, right? Now try this. Use that same process and use Waves. It reroutes you here. That Google did. I think this is what they did. They bought this thing. The Google platform has AI. I've done it 28 times with different friends, different business partners, and all that. Waves is not updated. Stop using Waves. It spins you around and spins you around. Why? Because that's not a Google platform. That's owned by Google or merged with Google. Google did the AI. The ad network has dropped tremendously where nobody's even using it no more. The technology is not updated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so don't use Waves. I used to love Waves, the red light, this, that. That's still there. But you never see no ads because that's old technology. And here's the thing, what I'm trying to say. I'm about to say something next week about this because I'm going to have all the data. But for now, try that. And what happens with old technology is that if you don't have the money to keep going, keep investing, and you're not making revenue and this, that, what happens is that's it. It becomes obsolete. Kill it, put it on the shelf for the next 1,000 years because they use it. But what's good about what CJ's talking about, yes, that technology might have been 25 years ago, and I'm glad he said that, or 10 years ago, 15, but the update, the scaling it and scaling it and scaling it. And I saw a little bit of that presentation, and I knew that technology quite some time ago. Okay? They're scaling it. It's getting more purified. Now I'm sure that they're working on some things with AI and that, CJ. Am I right, CJ? You working on stuff like that?
I'm into quantum now. I'm a little past AI.
Right. So watch that scaling part and boom, boom, boom. Before you know it, yeah, it's old technology, but it's going to be enhanced because they've been enhancing and enhancing. So you got to look at stuff. When you figure stuff out, you got to look at stuff as who they are first and what's going on, what's the background, and let's see. So even though it's old technology, it's now technology because it's aware, and that's what happened with Waves. They merged with Google. Google the ads. The ads drop. Google's not going to invest. Google now has AI, so now everybody's using that. If people can figure that out, they say, "Well, Google goes directly now." There's something wrong with Waves, and Waves was the top of the line thing 5 years ago.
Yep.
Now, please. What I usually learn stuff like that. Why do I usually do stuff like that? I'm always involved with that. Real simple. Because I'm really the guy that when I'm really comfortable, that's when I get uncomfortable. Because now I got a problem. I'm depending on something that could not spin right.
Yeah, a couple of
I
things.
said this to one of my partners when I heard Google merge with Waves. His name's Michael Owenhigh. He said it here, walked home because he was with me. And you know what happened with that? I told him, no, Rich, it's the ad networks. I said, yes. I said, and you don't want to know something? If they don't have that revenue, they're going to keep scaling because that ain't a Google product. And they're going to protect Google. I didn't say about the AI, but I said, if they don't keep the revenue, they're not going to keep it. And they need to upgrade it. But now the revenue dropped. Now Google has the AI and Waves doesn't. Why? Why? Because there's no money, there's no revenue. So that's the same thing that happens to a business. The exact same thing. So guys, you can start. Very, very feasible to protect yourself and your customers, because in the car business, that only protected the dealership, you protected customers. Because now that gate open, boom, open source is very dangerous. That's the problem with AI. You have your one window open and you have another window open and you have that AI open. Really? God almighty, that's a real open source. It's dangerous. The real guys that do the security thing, when it comes to ChatGPT, they got a throwaway laptop and that's all they use it for, ChatGPT. Because you don't want to get involved with what you're doing with the banking, with all that. Trust me, you don't want to get that involved.
Yeah. It's interesting. You bring up some really good points, Richie, about being aware. 91% of all breaches are because of phishing.
Right.
And they're using AI to generate these more sophisticated phishing emails, right? And email remains the most common channel for sending this malicious stuff out to devices. But it's hard. I'm going to speak as a father of 3 and a grandfather of 8. All right.
Wow.
When my grandsons send me something, I'm going to open it.
Right.
I don't know where they've been. I don't know what's in that picture they've sent me. Hey, Papa, you got to look at this. Or you have a friend who's got a friend and they forward it to you. All that stuff that you're comfortable opening can be malicious unintentionally, right? Because your kids in college, your grandmother or your mother, she loves recipes. She's online all the time getting recipes, right? Or you're talking sports and cars or somebody, and they send you you don't know where any of that stuff has been.
Right.
And it's also social media is one of the main ways that they social engineer these emails to you for phishing, right? And or they know things about you that you don't think they know. For example, I'll give you a simple example. The other day, a man told his daughter and son who were in college that they were going to take them on vacation to Costa Rica. And the kids were all excited. So they go on to Facebook and whoever, and he's telling his fraternity brothers, right? Hey, I'm not going to be here. Hey, mom and dad is taking us to Costa Rica. She's doing the same thing to her friends, right? Now, the bad guys are looking at what's going on Facebook. And the kids said on the social pages, we're going to be gone from the 1st to the 10th. Now, what did that do?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's home.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great spot to come try to rob the house. That's how simple, right? They get all this information. So awareness of what you're opening and who you're talking to, no matter, you got to look at that URL in the top of that email. You got to click on it, and you'll see the United States Postal Service, but USPS. But then you look behind it, and you've got another 15 different characters, and that's not the United States Postal Service. It may look like USPS, but it's not. It's not FedEx. It's not United Parcel Service either.
Right.
It's dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Being aware of what you're opening, and then, as we've talked about, prevention is the key. If you can stop it before they can capture what you're doing, amen.
That's great.
Yeah. And CJ, so where should they find you, Advanced Cybersecurity Corp, and how quickly can someone be up and running?
All right, very simple. First of all, currently we don't do anything retail, right? So everything is through our major distribution partners, and I can give you a list of those. And maybe, Richie, we can do something with your group and make it available to veterans through that, or auto dealers through you, right? It's a simple download. If you've ever downloaded an app to your PC or to your mobile phone, once you're allowed to download keystroke encryption endpoint lock to your device, maybe 30 seconds. There's no training. There's no education. It's not connected to a server remotely. It's on your device, very low overhead, which the big companies love, because I'm not competing for their memory and compute on the devices of the employees, because we're doing one thing and one thing only. We're stopping it. I'm not going to tell you it's there, right? I'm not scanning your computer. I'm doing one thing and one thing only. So it's a very simple download, and we're talking very low cost. This is pennies a day, if not half pennies per day, right? To be able to do it. And every license for endpoint lock covers multiple devices. our ransomware program with Chubb, which will actually pay the ransom in the event that a consumer, it comes with endpoint lock for every device in the family.
Wow.
So you can cover everybody with the preventative, but in the event a device gets locked down, you're covered with the $50,000 coverage. And I've already said that the average ransomware is $12,000 to $15,000.
Yeah.
So, and they'll pay it in Bitcoin. And the reason that they chose us was because, and I'm going to say it again, the preventative nature that Endpoint Lock provides. They were willing to underwrite the first ever consumer ransomware program associated with Endpoint Lock.
Wow.
So
it's huge. That is.
DJ, I'm glad you said that last thing that you're trying to figure something out for the vets. And I got a couple of other partners that you're going to meet soon on the cybersecurity side that they offered to do that. And we're working on a product line for the vets with cybersecurity, the business ones, because I give them go high level for nothing for free under the Institute. Everything's on those platforms all register on the Richie Bello West because I'm a nonprofit. So let's do it, right?
yeah.
So, and I want to have that conversation when I get back with you and Danny. But the most important thing, I want to introduce you to 3 partners that I have. You guys know the doctor, but I got 3 other partners that I've been working with the cybersecurity, and they're younger, the kids from the college, from incubators and all that, but they have a business now because they left the incubator maybe 6-7 years and they all own cybersecurity. Whoever doesn't know the way I am, I'm always communicating with people, mentoring people, going back and forth. If you look at my LinkedIn, you know the people that give me the recommendation, they're all like that, right? So these 3 other guys are kids that are tremendous, and we've been working on it. We've been plotting this thing with the Institute for the nonprofit. So I think after like this month, like come December, we want to have the marketplace all set. Like, TalkSoup. Have you heard of TalkSoup, anybody?
No.
Go to TalkSoup, and that's a platform for veterans for a lot of stuff for free. Nonprofit. You have to be like a nonprofit, but the veterans especially, So we're trying to build the same thing to add value to the veterans to get them started, get them let's get the people that want to be in business, because veterans are very good in the car business. There's thousands of them that they're tremendous entrepreneurs, but they're in the entrepreneur side of vendors. And I'm going to mention one veteran that's amazing here, Michael from Platinum Automotive. He owns all these dealerships in Pennsylvania. Michael, I hope you're listening to. He's a very nice guy, and he's very successful. Oh, my God, that veteran is amazing. So, and that's only one. I can start mentioning one by one because I've been in the nonprofit on the veteran side a long time, and everybody knows me that I'm really interested. Like, let's talk about Don Brady, another friend that's been to our house a few times. Okay? He's 20 years in the Army. This guy, I don't want to say who he was, but tremendous. His brother just came out doing 15 years. He is shipped my car. He goes to every dealership in the country, got awards in that, and he's got his own used car lot. And he's going to be a guy that's going to be very successful in the dealer sector. And by the way, he ran a dealership as a general manager, was very successful. So this guy's got Ship My Car Now. He built that brand, by the way. He's a vet. His brother just came, and now he's going to put his brother in Ship My Car Now. Unbelievable. And I got to say this, I went through the whole presentation, but I saw the technology of Ship My Car, and I know the CEO of Ship My Car. That's really AI. It's not like bullshit. That's really AI, and it came out like in COVID. And I can start measuring. I mean, we would need a 5-hour podcast because I know every dealership that's owned by a vet, and that's why I'm reaching out to you guys. Dealers with vets, you're going to get these 2 things that I just mentioned, plus more and more, because I'm about to bring different partnerships that I have about this.
Yeah. Let me add one.
I get back. let's meet. Let's go to the beach club or something. Let's go. We have lunch, brunch, or dinner. I think Lee will be with me, so I can introduce you to my guys that I have. We're all plotting this out.
Let me add one more thing. Not to get too personal, but my son is ex-Air Force, and he is a clinical psychologist here at the White River Junction VA Hospital in White River Junction, Vermont. And he deals with veterans every day. And he knows what I do, and I know what he does.
That's great.
And one of the things that he mentioned to me about what I do is that, Dad, veterans are stressed enough.
Yeah.
If we can help take some stress off of them by prevention, right? He said that's a big deal. So I'm interested in working with you, Richie.
I'm interested in more work. When you said that thing about Vietnam, I got all those guys around me in the institute. Maybe me and you can fly to Arizona.
Yeah, I lived there for a long time. I can't believe we hadn't met up there.
I know. I've been there since 16, and I go in and out of there. But you know what? I'm going to say this, CJ. You're really, really a good person. I thank you for the opportunity when you come on the show. But more important, I never knew you, and I know you a long time now. I never knew you were a vet. I just never knew. And I'm surprised that my partners and my friends that brought us together years ago couldn't figure it out. Tell me, that Richie's got a nonprofit. That's a problem. I have a lot of these partners, and they know I have the nonprofit. They've been helping me with my nonprofit because of them. It's not because of me. It's because all those partnerships have been pushing me, Richie. And I can't believe they bring people in, don't even tell them about it.
Well, with the help of Joel, I think we can get the word out.
Absolutely. Let's get together. I'm looking forward for our friendship relationship to grow, but more important, our partnership relationship to grow, to try to have a mission to help the veterans, because that's my mission. I have all this other thing happening, digital marketing, that I can drive traffic to anything. But you know what? The most important thing to me is the veteran, because all my companies could be sold tomorrow, but the nonprofit, I'm not selling it. I want that to continue the mission as I'm gone. I already have the will and all that made because I'm 60. So I have certain people that I want to do that nonprofit. That to me is very, very important. That's the most important thing, actually. That's why I work so hard to help the veterans out.
Thanks, Richie. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank CJ Brunet of Advanced Cybersecurity Corp for being on the show today. Yes, thank you for being on the show. More importantly, thank you for your service and your family's service to our country. And veteran business owners, if you want to learn more about getting Go High Level on the house, which is the one-stop shop for everything you need to get marketing off the ground for your businesses, or if you're interested in the free car washes for a year on the house, again, reach out to Richie at info at richiebellowwest.com. And other than that, Richie, thank you as always for having me next to you.
Oli, by the way, I forgot to say something. That SEO video was really nice. Hey, veterans, watch this. I'm working on something. It's going to take me a few months with Lee Wolf and Gene Fontana and a partner that has a software where SEO automated, one part of SEO. We are planning on giving that to all veterans in business in combination with Go High Level and all this other stuff that we're doing. Stay tuned for this developing product line that veterans are not going to have to pay an SEO company $7,000 or $8,000. I have a very rich partner, rich that wants to help the veterans. It's rich. It's time to scale the nonprofit.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, gentlemen.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Richie. Thank you, Joel.
Thanks a lot, man. God bless. Bye-bye.